welcome back, everybody. Welcome, my Fire family. Coach Angel here, financial physician. And today we're going to talk about our FIRELife Banking System, and specifically with the infinite banking concept as the kicker. So I've already had a few videos kind of talking about some of these things, but I wanted to kind of highlight kind of the whole picture for our actual financial coaching and how we walk our clients through, their entire financial life. And what we set up is a financial life strategy and leveraging these basic concepts. So I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of how we structured our program in this FIRELife Banking System so that you know what to expect when you reach out to us. So we've been having a lot more interaction with some of you folks out there, and we really appreciate it. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for subscribing to our channel and liking these videos and whatnot. So I'm going to get into it a little bit, and we're going to start kind of where you would come in and how we would help you and what we do. So one of the main things that we do is we talk about your specific situation, right? And there's a lot of generalities that we talk about here, but when we get into your specifics, we're going to want to know, right? And if you watch some of our other videos, one of the first things to start with is you have to know your numbers. And so we're going to talk through that. And so I'm going to get into a little bit about that. So one of the things that I want to call out is, and I didn't write it here, but I wanted to write it down, is we talk about kind of our system here, but one of the main things is a budget. You have to start with a budget, okay? Because you need to know where your money is going. You know how much is coming in, you know how much is going out, what your cash flow is, because with cash flow, then you have a lot more options and you know what you need to do. You can estimate, you can work out how fast we can pay off debt, how much we can be putting away for the future, how much we can be allocating to investing. And as part of the FIRE life, you need to be trying to reduce your spending as much as possible, right? I think the minimum that we try to get to is 50%. You live off of 50% of what you make. Then you can really be thinking about how you can start invest and set up your FIRE life. Be on fire, whether that's lean fire, fat fire, whatever that is for you, right? So our system here, one of the main things we'll start with is your personal financial life, your budgeting, and how that works out for you and your family, with your spouse, your kids, and whatever the situation may be, maybe for your business as well. But one of the main things that we start with is protection. We want to make sure that we protect what's most important to you, right? You got my little umbrella here, right? When the things of life start coming at you, right? You never know. Right? Something happens, you get sick, you get in an accident, someone tries to sue you, whatever it is. You want to make sure that you're protected. And how do we do that? We do that with insurance. And that's all it's there for, is for your protection, mainly when we get started. And later on, we're going to talk about kind of the future of funding policies and things like that. But we have to make sure you're protected. What would happen to you today if you were to lose your income? And I'm not talking about just if you die. No, I'm talking about if you were to lose your income because you couldn't work. Right? Maybe you got an accident, you break a leg, paraplegic, some terminal illness, or something, not terminal illness, but maybe just some regular type of illness, cancer that you have to fight through, or maybe diabetes or heart disease or something, stroke, whatever that is. What would happen to your family if you lost your income? Would you be able to survive? Do you have enough in your savings to withstand a crisis? Even like now, the pandemic, right, where you've been shut down from being able to work, or you've lost your job, or whatever it is. So that's something very important, and one of the ways that we do that is by protecting you with specific life insurance policies that have living benefits. And these living benefits are stuff that you can tap into the death benefit if you get sick, or maybe you're not able to perform 2 of your daily functions. And if you watch our life insurance videos, basics of life insurance, we talk more about that. But that's what we try to do. We try to protect your house, right? Make sure your house is protected, make sure your cars are protected, make sure your family's protected, shoot, even your pets sometimes need pet insurance too, right? But anyways, that's where we start. And then we really focus on paying off debt. Credit cards, your cars, personal loans, right? Student loans, your mortgage, right? If you have a large amount of debt, you got to start to reduce that. You want to get down to 0. What would happen if you had no payments? If you had no debt obligations of any kind? What would your life look like? What would you do? Can you imagine your life with absolutely no debt of any kind? Where the only expenses that are going out are just your daily living expenses, maybe utilities, food, gas, those basic things that you need just to live. But if your housing is paid for, your cars are paid for, that opens up so many opportunities. It's pretty amazing what could happen when you have no payments. So that's what we try to focus on, put you on a plan so you can get rid of your debt. But then we start talking about saving for the future, right? Once you've paid off your debt, once you've got this under control, right? And sometimes you do cross over when you're paying off your mortgage, you can get into really starting to save for the future. But you want to start with a good emergency fund. And you want to make sure that that emergency fund is accessible, it's liquid, or there's a way of doing it. And there's different ways we can do that. You just stick it in a money market account, put it in a savings account, whatever that is. But it's not going to be really doing anything for you. The opportunity costs are pretty high because you're not basically earning anything off that. Now, if you follow certain folks like Dave Ramsey and Financial Peace and whatnot, he teaches you just leave it in there. It's insurance. Okay, it's not an investment. Your emergency fund is just for insurance to protect you in case an emergency. You have that money right there, easy access. Some people don't like to have their money just sitting there, right? You're saving 3 to 6 months of expenses. That could be, $20, $30, $40,000 depending on your lifestyle. And it's just sitting there. It's not earning anything. So there's other ways that we can set that up, right? We maybe have a whole life policy with the maximized cash value, and that could be your emergency fund, your cash flow, your debt tool. But regardless of that, got to have an emergency fund. So you got to make sure you do that. And then you can start putting money into your 401k, and you want to focus on putting away up to the match if your company matches, right? And then funding a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k, depending on how your company's structured. If they offer Roth 401ks options like that. But once you max fund your Roth for you and your spouse, I think right now it's 2020, I believe the max is about $6,500 per person. So if you're working, your spouse is a stay-at-home mom, you can actually put money for your spouse as well, up to $6,500, whatever the max contribution limits are for a Roth. And so you both could be putting away, $12,000, $13,000 a year into a Roth. And again, that's post-tax dollars. So after you've already been taxed on your paycheck, you use that money to fund the Roth. And then any growth after that, any growth in the Roth, it's all tax-free. So it's pretty amazing, right? You don't pay any income taxes, right? 20, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, depending on how old you are, you could have a good sizable amount of money in there. And you want to start to invest as soon as possible. If you're a millennial, you're in your 20s or 30s, man, you are in a much better boat than some folks that are barely figuring this out in their 40s, 50s, and even possibly in their 60s. So if you're a millennial, you're between your 20s and 30s, you need to start right now. Do not let time go by. Your best friends are time and compound interest, right? Growth over time. That's what you're looking for, right? It's going to start out small, but over time, it's going to grow. So that's what you want. You want that growth over time, compound interest. All right, so after you max fund your Roth, right, we're going to show you, right, then you can maybe go back and max fund your 401k depending on where you're at in your income. I think max contribution on 401k right now is about like $19,500 or something like that. And then you also want to be thinking about sinking funds. And again, you can park that money somewhere along with like your emergency fund, but you want to be thinking about expenses that are going to be coming up. Maybe let's say you have annual expenses that happen every year. You want to make sure you're putting that money. Let's face it, Christmas is not a surprise. You're going to be spending money during Christmas, or car registration, or your annual property taxes, or maybe it's biannual, whatever that is. You got to be sure to be thinking about that. Don't let it come and hit you from the side. Like these expenses are coming up every year or every few months, whatever that is. So you got to make sure you're thinking about that. So putting some sinking funds, putting them a little bit every month, just putting it aside so that when those bills come due, it's ready to go. You're paying cash, you're not getting into debt or trying to dip into your emergency fund. So you should be planning ahead. Being strategic is very important for that. And then once you're kind of in that boat where you got a good system going and you have extra funds, extra cash flow, right? You've paid off debt, you're healthy, you're good, every family's taken care of, everything's good. Then you really start thinking about investing. And there's different ways you can do it. A lot of different methodologies out there, a lot of gurus that'll tell you different things. We try to be very safe and conservative. Depending on your risk tolerance, you could, take a little more risk if you want. But, index funds, traditional index funds, ETFs, you want to get into Forex trading, things like that. We do have a partnership with America's Financial Group, and they help you with that. And there's also, and you've watched some of our other videos, we're going to be getting more into this, but private equity, whatever that is. So if you have additional funds that you want to invest, you can do that. But then obviously you have your traditional type of investments like real estate. I love real estate. I've been in real estate for almost 18 years now. It's fantastic. And you gotta know when to buy. You gotta be smart. You gotta be careful. You have to know what you're getting yourself into. You have to know the ups and downs. You gotta ins and outs. You gotta be smart about it. Be wise. Find someone that you can trust, someone that can educate you on how to do it, do it right, where to invest, how much to invest, and you gotta make sure. You gotta be careful. You don't want to be buying things out of state that are really far where you don't really know the market. You better know that market in some way, shape, or form. You better have an expert there. You better have friends, somebody, colleague that you can work with, that you can trust, that's going to lead you in the right direction, that's going to educate you on why you should or shouldn't buy a specific property. I've had situations where people buy properties out of state, and the realtor just wants to make a commission, and they're trying to work things out, and they may have gone somewhere, maybe they visited and they say, okay, this is what I'm looking for, but then they don't tell you all the details of that property, and might back up to some industrial waste or something, or some bog that smells disgusting. And yeah, the pictures look nice, but no family wants to move in there, and next it turns into a really bad investment. So you got to be thinking about it. You got to be smart. And then obviously other assets, gold, silver, precious metals, things like that, and there's a few other things like that. But we will try to help with that, and we want to kind of direct you towards those things. Now let's talk about infinite banking a little bit. As we talk about an emergency fund and kind of protecting yourself, one of the first things that we want to do is we want to make sure that there's enough of a death benefit with living benefits that it covers your family, right? Enough to cover your income should the worst happen. But in case you get sick, you want to make sure there's enough to cover you for that, right? So, but one of the things that we stress is maximizing your cash value. Maximize your cash value and minimize your death benefit or your premiums, your base premiums, the actual cost of insurance. So you want to pay as little towards your premiums, towards insurance, and try to make sure enough of your dollars are going towards that cash value, right? Have a break-even point of, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years max. Maybe 7 years, depending on kind of where you're at, the type of policy. But by having that money accessible, maybe maybe part of your emergency fund is going into your cash value and leveraging infinite banking concept, right, through policy loans for big purchases. Let's say you buy a car every year, or not every year, but let's say every 5 years you're buying a car. And traditionally, especially if you follow folks that are all about cash and no debt, so you're saving up, let's say, for 4 or 5 years to buy a car, and you're going to go and spend $20,000-$30,000 on a car. Maybe it's not a new car, maybe it's a used car. Well, you could be putting that money and having it grow in a high cash value policy, dividend paying whole life policy, and then you take out a policy loan, buy that car cash, and over the next 4 or 5 years, you're paying that loan back and basically re-upping your cash value and getting you back to zero on that policy loan. And again, it's going to continue to grow, and we're going to have more conversations about dividend paying whole life policies and how well they work for situations like this. So after 4 or 5 years, you're ready to buy another car. You've already paid back your loan with some interest. You're paying yourself back. You become your own bank. And boom, I go and I pull that money out through a policy loan. It's grown, and maybe I had $40,000 there, and after 5 years, maybe I got another, now I got like $80,000 or $90,000 in there. Pull out another 40, go buy an extra car or something, and then you do the same thing over and over again. So this is a beauty of high cash value whole life insurance. So this is our FIRELife Banking System with infinite banking, and we want to help you. We want to make sure that you're taken care of. If you want to talk to someone, you need someone to review your numbers, free consultations. We want to help you out. We'll provide a financial life strategy just for you, because you guys, our audience, are what kind of helps us and helps us learn. Myself personally, I want to learn. I want to experience more different situations. Everyone's in a different place, maybe different things in different states and whatnot. I want to be able to learn more so I can be able to help more people. Maybe I can teach you so you can go and teach others. That's what I'm a coach. I'm a life coach. And, if you follow me on my personal channel, kind of that's what we're all about. We want to train others. We want to train leaders. We want to train other coaches. We want to help people build each other up, Because if I can teach you, I can build you up, and I can teach you how to build others up, then we're going to make this world a better place. We're going to make our country a better place, make our community stronger, better, and that's what we're all about, right? That's what we're all about, changing one life at a time. So if you need help out there, reach out. And if you watch my video about the financial coaching, if you really want to have that one-on-one lifetime access to me, we're going to have a special running for the next 4 or 5 months, pretty much at the end of 2020. Lifetime access for $777. It's we've never offered anything like this before, but we want to continue to grow this brand. And by you partnering with us, you helping us, we want to give something back to you. So you'll have free lifetime access to us, right, by paying that amount. Normally the course is 9 weeks. I extended it out for 6 months, but working it out with my business partners, and we want to help more people. So by you helping us out, we're going to help us to create our system, getting it dialed in, and we'll be able to help more people. So you're actually partnering with us, and you're going to get lifetime access for that. So pretty amazing. We hope that it'll be a benefit to you. It'll be a blessing to you. And that's what we're all about. We want to be a blessing to others. So I appreciate you all. Come on back. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Like this video. Share it. And if you need help, just reach out. We appreciate you. firelifefinancial@gmail.com. And we'll be in touch. We'll talk soon. Take care, everybody. Peace out.
FIRELife